Ice and chips!
The basic premise of our show, in a sentence. In Blackpool, a gang of disabled and neurodiverse characters pull off a heist in a corrupt casino. It's a 6-part heist series, with each episode following a different character, and each episode showing the point of view of that character. Through each episode, we'll learn about their role in the heist, their motive for getting involved, and a bit of their story.
We open on a casino with the Blackpool Tower behind it. We cut to an office, all black and white, with a young woman with a red beret frantically typing on a computer. The scene freezes. A dice rolls onto the screen with the name Ruby on it. We cut to a middle-aged woman in a cleaning uniform and pushing a laundry basket. The scene freezes. A dice rolls onto the screen and the name Mix is written on it. We cut to a middle-aged man in a restaurant talking to a younger man. The screen freezes. A dice rolls on with the name Onus on it. We cut to a young woman tripping over a younger man. The screen freezes. A dice rolls on with the name Ariel on it. We cut to an older teenage boy taking a picture of a badger. The scene freezes. A dice rolls onto the screen with the name Robert on it. We cut to a young police officer interviewing Ruby. The screen freezes and a dice rolls on with the name Brody on it. As all of the characters' freeze frames line up, they start to turn like a slot machine from a casino, slowly revealing the title.
Ice and chips!
Now we're going to hand over to Veronica to start us off with the world.
This is a picture of Blackpool Tower, and you can see all the people having fun by the beach, and it's a nice place to start. This is what the casino looks like. It's nice and grand, and you can see the lights coming out, and you can see the daylight going down, and it's definitely a nice place to do the heist.
This is inside the casino where you play some cards and the bits of chips, and I don't know any more games you can think about in a casino.
We're going to have very kitsch, very neon 70s lighting like these disco balls here, and also lots of different layers for different vantage points for different shots. Again, the colour is very garish, very bright, in contrast to the CCTV rooms, which are very dark.
This is a bar when I thought something a bit wide and quite stylish, and a bit colourful parts of the background of the bar where you get drinks.
And again, the arcade machines are going to be very flashy, very neon, which is going to be quite overstimulating for anyone with hypersensitivity.
This with I'm thinking of like different colours, like different kind of floors in the casino where people do stay in hotels, and there's the one thing that there's a restricted area, like it could be like a restricted area where there's staff only, that gives you a bit of tease, or it could be something like a heist inside where you private rooms, and the cameras like those, like how it moves smoothly, and how it points at eye, isn't it? Right? Yeah, that's it.
And now.
So this is a picture of the control room. One of our characters, her name's Ruby, and she is the CCTV officer. So this is her safe space, basically. As you see, you have lockers, one with Ruby and one with Dave. Dave is head of security. We'll see more of him later on. The poster is Ruby's that she's put up. Just one more thing, it's a phrase from Columbo, which is her favourite show. You have like a book where she writes information down of what's happened on the CCTV, and she has a blind because Ruby's hypersensitive. So where like the light in the hallway is very bright, she has a blind so she can pull that down. So this is going to be quite a dark space. Like Jacob was saying, it will have a complete contrast to the casino. So now we're going to meet the characters. This is Ruby. She is autistic and hypersensitive, like I said. She loves noir films, detective films. So in her episode, a lot of it's going to be black and white because that's how she perceives the world. That's how she can cope with in this world, except when she goes into the casino. When she steps into the casino, there's an overwhelmingness of bright lights, flashing, noise, smells, everything. It's very overstimulated to her. She also has a very high moral compass, which you may ask, why is she part of this heist? Well, she has her own reasons why she's doing this heist. It's not all about the money.
Nix is between 30 and 40. Her disability is that she suffers from migraines, but they mimic a stroke. She's working class, she's educated, she's street smart, and she's good at finding people. Her flaw is that she doesn't trust anyone. Her motivation for doing the heist is that she's been hard done by people and the system. Her role in the heist is recruitment. What her episode looks like: job centre, agency work, she's done lots of work, sometimes hustle to pay her bills, mortgage. She's realistic. Her day is determined by a text message on her phone as where the next employment lies.
Onus is a nice narcissist. He likes fast cars, fast women, and fast money. He's the kind of guy that has a line of coke for breakfast. His dad dies and leaves the casino and everything all to his golden boy brother, Jeff. He then goes on to get a diagnosis of narcissism from the therapist. To combat this, Onus takes part in moral offsetting. Moral offsetting is like carbon offsetting. So when you go on a plane, you might plant a tree. He's the mastermind behind the heist, and although he's doing something bad, he's offsetting it by helping other people and letting them get the cash. Spoiler alert, no one knows his connection to this casino until the end of the series.
This is the presentation about Ariel, because she's a very nice girl, she's a very talented girl.
Ariel's mum passed away, so she struggles with like maths. She finds maths really difficult. She loses a lot of money and stuff. And I feel like the character she chose was a good character.
Robert is a young Scottish man who lives in Bolwood Forest, which is about an hour's drive from Blackpool. He goes into the forest at night to take photographs for the Wildlife Trust. He has gained the trust of a clan of badgers who are comfortable around him, which shows that he's very sensitive. He has dyspraxia, which we'll show in various different ways in the episode, like showing camera shots to look much more narrow than they actually are, as well as, instead of hiding camera movement, show the camera movement, show the camera shakiness, inspired by shows like The Office and The Thick of It, to demonstrate his lack of spatial awareness. He is manipulated into the heist by Onus because he very easily trusts people. When he works out this, it hits him quite hard, which we'll show from having lots of flashing images, which look like he's taken it quite quickly, but through like the change in lighting or something, will show that it's actually taking a lot longer to process. But the reason he continues with the heist is because of a much more healthy friendship with Ariel based on common ground.
Brody is between 27 and 28. He has autism and dyslexia, and he has like a learning difficulty when some things he's good at and some things he struggles at. Like he sees things in different ways to others. When it's like something that connects the dots, sometimes it goes well, but sometimes it doesn't. He has moments with suspects, like thinking like, does he have to be too nice, or does he be not? Or does he have to be tough? like have a balance to be a detective, and even build it up how to become to be the detective. That's like the greatest detective there can be. He wants to do good, stop crime. He brings down the casino instead of the people for the casino corruption. There'll be moments that suspects of the crime of a casino in a heist. That who is innocent, who is not. He'll be moments he has a balance. And he overworks. He most overwork, like doesn't give advice for some people, saying you go easy on yourself, but he wants to, because he wants to do great things. Though it's something he's passionate about. He sometimes wants to do good things to succeed and prove people wrong. When people give him the floor, he can't do things. He wants to do something right, and check to crack the case and discover what happened. Like I mentioned earlier about this, connect the dots with the necklace or some blood, little bits of blood will connect. And what does the episode look like? Interviews, piecing the case together, fish and chips. Well, I'm going to say this. Once a week, when he's off work, he loves his fish and chips.
Episode 1, Ruby's perspective. Ruby loves her job. She works in security at the casino. To be more specific, she works in the CCTV office, watching the comings and goings of everyone in the casino. Ruby loves people watching. She's really into crime podcasts, mystery novels, noir movies, and when she's watching people, she imagines their lives as if they were characters in one of the stories she consumes with such a passion.
What Ruby doesn't like so much is the casino itself. She's autistic with hypersensitivity, so the casino floor with all its lights, sounds and smells is one of the worst places she could ever be.
The only time Ruby deals with an intense smell willingly is on a Friday evening. Every Friday, she travels down from her apartment in the lift and heads to the chip shop on the seafront. And every Friday, she sees a guy doing the exact same thing. He's around her age, maybe a little older. They've never spoken, but every Friday, when they leave their apartments at the exact same time to head to the same chip shop, Ruby wonders if they have more in common than just chips.
Ruby isn't looking for her own story. She's happy absorbing other people's. So when she's approached by the new cleaner at work, Nix, scheming to make some serious money by robbing the casino, she's quick to turn it down. Ruby might like stories about crime, but she doesn't want to be a criminal. But that's before she notices something.
Hi. Is everything all right? What's the matter?
The problem is, my mum passed away. I can't pull money at the moment.
I'm so sorry. I wish there was some way I could help you. Have you spoken to the boss about this?
No.
Well, I see all the money that Dave takes on the CCTV. I know this casino's doing really well at the moment. I'm sure if you ask the boss for a raise, then he will give it to you.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm going to talk to him now.
I'm positive he will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ariel takes Ruby's advice and asks for a raise. The next time Ruby sees Ariel is on the CCTV. She isn't celebrating, she's crying again.
Ruby has angrily turned Ariel down, but more than that, she's confused. Something is up here. The casino isn't broke, it's flush. They don't want that money on the books. Why not? Ruby decides to do some digging. For once, instead of listening to a true crime story, she's getting caught up in one. Running down the evidence and following the leads, Ruby uncovers the fact that the casino is money laundering. Ruby goes back to Nix. She's changed her mind. Whatever Nix has planned, she's in, and Ariel is in too.
Now, when you're watching this show on your TV, which you will be watching it, you won't see all of the details of the heist in episode 1. So as we've said, the series will take you through different character perspectives. You'll see different parts of the heist in those different episodes. However, just for you, just for today, we're going to give you some spoilers. information they need about where the money goes every night. So, where does the money go? Every night, Dave, head of security, we're about to meet him. I know we've mentioned him a few times. I'm very excited to see him. So Dave, every night, collects all of the money from the cashiers in the casino. He takes it all in the secure lift. He enters the secure lift using his fingerprint. He takes it up to the top floor to the safe, which he accesses with a code. Now, on the night of the heist, Onus, remember him? He is out of there. He's nowhere to be seen. He is taking his brother Jeffrey for a meal. Jeffrey, remember him? The one who's just inherited the casino from him and Onus's father. He's keeping him well out of the way with a slap-up meal, but he's listening to everything through an earpiece. The stage is set. We're ready.
Step 1. Getting Dave's fingerprint. Ruby doesn't have much in common with her direct boss, Dave. He's not the smartest person in the world, but he is really handsome and charismatic, and he's decided he needs to make more of these qualities by going on a reality TV show and becoming famous. He talks about his plans to make it as a reality star a lot. He's always recording practice audition videos on his phone. It's boring to Ruby. There's no mystery to solve on reality TV, so she usually tries to get out of these conversations, but not anymore. Now she needs to talk to Dave, or to be more exact, get him talking over a drink so that Ariel can grab his glass later and lift his fingerprint from it. Dave really likes talking about himself, so step 1 is pretty easy, which brings us to...
Step 2, getting the security code. People expect Ariel to be clumsy, so why not use that expectation against them? On the night of the heist, Ariel accidentally opens a door with a tray full of glasses and crashes into Dave. Dave is so busy being irritated at having to help her clear up the broken glass that he doesn't notice her drop a pen in his suit jacket pocket. Obviously the pen isn't just a pen. Later that night, as Dave keys in the security code into the safe, our gang are watching him key in the numbers via the camera in the pen, playing a direct feed into Nix's mobile phone. They have all the info they need, which takes us to...
Step 3. Getting Dave out the way. Remember how Dave likes to video himself practicing auditions on his phone? Well, what Dave doesn't like as much is when one of these practice videos is projected onto all the casino screens. The second he puts the money into the safe, he hears his voice echoing through the sound system of the casino. Yeah, well, I think I'm one of those guys who sees it how it is and says it how it is. I'm not a one-chick sort of person. I like a few chicks on the side. Embarrassed, Dave runs to the casino floor and sees his own face from a variety of admittedly flattering angles. Talking on every screen. This is bad. Really bad. He's almost relieved when the fire alarm goes off. He's totally unaware that as this is happening, Nix is using the mould of his finger to access the lift. She's putting in the code and emptying the safe. And that's not the only thing that's happening while Dave is distracted. Let's get back to Ruby.
Step 4. The heist within the heist. See, Ruby doesn't just care about getting the money. No, what she really wants to expose is the corrupt casino. Whilst Nix was stealing the money, Ruby was on her own mission, nowhere near the safe, but in the office of the casino owner. Someone she has been studying for weeks, editing together CCTV footage of him at his computer, studying and copying his finger pattern as he enters his password. She thinks she's ready. She knows his finger movements off by heart. Even so, she doesn't get it right first time. She can hear Dave's voice from his video echoing around the casino. She knows she has mere seconds before the fire alarm goes off and the sprinkler system kicks in, shutting all the electric down in the building. Ruby gets it right with seconds to spare. She attaches the USB, starts downloading every file she can find that looks like it might provide intel on the money laundering.
Ruby is about to leave the office when she hears footsteps. Forced to hide, she ducks down behind the desk, knocking a photo from the desk on her way. From her hiding place, she notices something about the photo. She's knocked.
It's a photo of the casino owner and his family, but it's folded over, cutting someone out of the frame. Ruby unfolds it and looks. She recognises the person who's been cut out. It's Onus. More on him later. Ruby sits in silence as the sprinklers come on. Meanwhile,
Step 5, get the money out. Next, put the money in the bins. Robert is wearing a high-vis jacket. Robert takes the money out of the bins.
Step 6. What happens next? A couple of days later, Ruby is expecting her when she's called out of her office to be questioned by the police. They're questioning everyone who works at the casino after all. She has her answers prepared and knows how to explain that she can't be of much help because all of the CCTV cut out when the sprinklers came on. What Ruby isn't expecting is who the police officer is. Standing in front of her is the guy she sees every Friday, the one who lives in her building and always leaves at the same time as her to get chips. She never expected that the first time they talked would be like this. Obviously, she gives nothing away, but she has an idea.
The next time Brody goes to get chips on a Friday, he's a little bit sad Ruby isn't there. Sure, she's a suspect in his case. He shouldn't want to see her, but he does. He eats his chips on the beach, thinking that obviously nothing will happen between him and Ruby now. When he noticed something, his chips aren't wrapped in normal newspaper, they're wrapped in paper detailing money laundering at the casino.
So, like we said, the series will take in different viewpoints and different characters. So we wanted to give you a little snapshot of another moment, which happens fairly early on in the series. We think around episode 2. This is Onus's episode, and this is the reunion after a long time of Onus and Nyx. They've got history, and this takes place at Onus's father's funeral. And it's also the moment where the master plan starts to form.
What are you doing here? Dad's funeral.
What do you mean? What the fuck am I doing here?
Listen, for years, you just kind of like, you know, inviting.
Who fucking cares?
Who invited you then?
Oh, God, there's more than you here, you know, you fucking narcissist, and one of them's dead.
Bloody Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want you here.
Who cares whether you want me here or not? I'm here, that's it, deal with it.
Just leave.
Oh, yeah, right, I'm going.
Leave.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm here just to see your big face.
Hi, Nyx, it's Onus.
Who's this?
Onus?
Onus who?
How many Onuses do you know?
Oh, shit. What do you want?
Look, I need a favour. I've got a job.
A favour from me? You've got to be fucking joking.
Oh, come on, Nyx. I know things ended badly between us, but this could really help you out.
Really? What's in it for me?
There's a lot of money in it. It could sort you out for life.
You expect me to believe that?
Look, Nyx, just give me a chance. Meet me today.
I can't meet you today. I'm too busy.
Oh, Nyx, come on.
Right, I can meet you about 6 o'clock.
At the club, yeah?
Yeah, and you're fucking paying.
Yeah.
So it falls to me to close things up. Disabled and neurodiverse people are still underestimated, misunderstood, underrepresented. We know that. That's part of why we're all here. That's obvious. We don't get to see them doing morally questionable things. You don't get to see them living through ordinary life things like struggling with bills, losing a parent, and you rarely get to see them kicking ass. So this series gives you all of that, along with a healthy dose of dry British humour, some exciting, adventurous sequences, and of course, an extra large portion of chips. Thank you very much. We would love to open up to any questions or feedback.
Straight in there. I love the character of Ruby, not only because I'm autistic and hypersensitive, so I think I really love that we get to see Ruby and other characters' worlds like through the camera in the black and white, and then the sort of colour and noise of the casino. Also, I'm a Columbo fan, so I love that.
We didn't know that.
You've been stalking me, right? So I really like that. I also, in general, I really like that you're sort of taking a very British take on something like Ocean's 11 or something like that, and I think it's really smart. I wondered if you considered maybe using the chip shop as the sort of central place to plan the heist, sort of in contrast to the casino, so you've sort of got a rich and poor kind of thing going on there. But just thoughts.
And chips.
And chips.
And there would always be chips. Yeah, we hadn't considered that, but it feels lovely. What we did talk about, I guess, was we talked a bit about the contrast, didn't we, between the sort of glamorous casino and actually the backdrop of somewhere like Blackpool, didn't we? So we want to talk about that. Yeah.
We were talking about, like, we wanted very obvious, like, like Owen's dad's funeral, very extravagant, very upper class, and then we have Ariel's funeral, which is very lower class. Ariel's mum's funeral, which is very lower class, because money's tight and that, so they don't have so much like money, and very big contrast between each episode.
Yeah, so that kind of, class is massive in this, isn't it?
Yeah, and between the two funerals, there's hardly anybody at Owen's dad's funeral where there's a lot of people at Ariel's mom's funeral.
Go.
So I really love how sort of the tech used here to sort of pull off the heist is like it feels accessible, but the way you sort of executes it still feels like so slick. And what I also really love is like we're challenged as the audience of who to root for, because at first you're kind of like, oh, it's a heist, these are criminals, and then when you sort of peel back the layers, you're kind of like, oh, okay, there's actually corruption, money laundering going on in this casino, and the so-called criminals are just normal people just trying to make a better life for themselves. So I really love how we're challenged, and then sort of then going forward to the interrogation between Brody and Ruby, which I think is just such a cool twist of events, because you're not sure where that's going to be. They sort of see each other a week and you're kind of like, what's the connection? And that turns out to be the connection, and I love that. But my question with that is, so thought of back interrogation, through that will we then understand whether they get away or not, whether sort of Ruby spills beans?
Am I right in thinking we sort of saved that for series 2? Which feels like such a cop-out answer, but that is actually the truth. That's what we talked about, was it? Do you want to jump in?
Yeah, or maybe just because of the way the episodes are going to be structured, Brody is the last episode of the series. So you do only see him through other people's eyes until the end, and we think that, in his episode with Ruby giving him the information, essentially that's the start of him changing his mind and his allegiances. So perhaps in the second series, he's still a cop, but he's a conflicted cop who's also kind of invested now in some of the criminals because they are doing it for complicated reasons. Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I love the tone of it. Is just so unashamedly here to entertain you. But it's just full of treats. Dave and his reality TV ambitions. I'm totally here. And the way that you set it up and then pay it off by putting it on the screen because it links to the heist. So actually, all the fun stuff isn't just fun stuff on the top. All the fun stuff belongs to the plot and belongs to the story, belongs to the characters. I think it's so clever. It was a joy to listen to. Thank you.
It's a wonderful blend of. It's got real cinematic aspiration. It's a blend of different genres. That sort of heist caper meets a bit of Guy Ritchie, a bit of Lock, Stock.
We did.
And with a little bit of Notting Hill in the middle.
Yeah.
Which is delightful. You've got something for everyone.
Yeah.
It's so technicolor and very, very British. And yeah, I think the tone is wonderful. It's sort of, it's real, it's grounded, but it's sort of dialed up, so it's slightly heightened. Can I just congratulate you on the best character names today? Fantastic. First we had Xandrid and Xenia, and now we've got Bonus. Wonderful, so evocative.
His moral offsetting.
I'm
in the room with me.
I'm taking moral offsetting as a justification for everything I do.
Can I ask a question actually, which is how you bring the band together? Because I can see how Ruby, because as soon as we said which is in CCTV, I'm like, oh brilliant, they're going to bring it down from the inside. Robin Hood's good, I love it. But how do you go about connecting her to Robert, for example?
Yes. So Robert's really into his badgers, and Onus is going very fast in his very nice posh car, and he hits a badger. And then he goes to a wildlife rescue centre where Robert volunteers, and that's how they initially meet. But then as time goes on, Onus realises that he's got a lot of skills that he can use, so he brings him in. And then with Nix, they kind of pick people that they want at the casino, and Nix is the one that kind of brings the gang together, but Onus is kind of the hands-off mastermind behind it all.
And Nix gets the cleaning job at the casino
Yes.
as a kind of template.
Yeah, Nix doesn't want to do it, but she has to do it because of Owen's idea. But the only person that knows the mastermind behind it is Nix. But she's not telling anybody. And she introduces, she goes up to them. If it's in a chip shop, she'll go up to them and say, oh, do you want some fishy chips?
She's our people person, isn't she?
Yeah.
Can I just check, so nobody knows about Onus's involvement apart from Nick?
Yeah.
And so they do know.
Onus's involvement, you just don't know about it.
Yes. They don't know about them. So they know that Onus is the mastermind, but it's because they don't know his connection to the casino. Yeah, so he doesn't know.
They don't know that he might.
Yeah, only Nix knows that Onus.
It's a family thing.
The family,
Yeah.
because she went to the funeral and she knows the father and the brother.
Until Ruby finds the photo.
And also, I think we'll see a moment in Robert's episode where he realises he's been had, he's been used, and the kind of decision making that he has to do around whether to carry on.
Do they pull it off? What happens?
Yeah, they pull it off. They pull it off, yeah.
Says it in the
first.
My fault.
Yeah, and we've done a little bit of thinking about what that kind of ending looks like, because we've obviously left them sort of, we've got the money, Robert's taken the money out of the bins, we've got it, but we did a bit. Do you want to say what happens with Nix?
Yeah, because Nix doesn't trust anybody, and if who's going to bring in the is it Ruby that's going to bring in the police?
So I don't think we know that bit yet, but what does Nix do immediately after getting the money?
Yeah, Nix goes off with her money and she just leaves the rest because Nix doesn't trust anybody. So she takes her money and she's gone.
Yeah, and we've talked about whether series 2 there's a bit of a hunt for Nix because we need her.
I keep hearing about the connections between Ruby and Brady. Was it the police?
Yeah.
Brody, yeah. Are there plans for any connections between them two and or any other characters in the series to be romantic, or if there's any romance there, would that be subverted or just removed?
Anyone wants to talk about that? Yeah.
I think, especially with Ruby and Brody, we're going to have like scenes of them going up and down the elevator with their chips. There's definitely something there, but maybe not in the first season. Maybe, it's hinted at in the first season, but I feel like it will be slow but natural.
Yeah. Or could it be perhaps that they turn out to be just friends?
Maybe. Do we want to talk about Onus and Nyx and what their relationship is like?
Yeah, so I think they've got a lot of history there, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think for both of them, they've both had a relationship that's meant a lot to them, and because they're quite selfish and untrusting characters, they haven't necessarily experienced a lot of that in their lives. So they do have that connection, but then there's also the fact that Onus, had barred Nyx from working at one point when they finished. So there's all that kind of backstory, and I'm sure there'd be like moments of tension.
There's something sort of still there, even though it's really bad for both of them.
Yeah, because Onus doesn't like the word no, and Nyx has turned it down a lot of times. So he stopped her from getting work. So she's really mad at him.
But one of the kind of intentions behind having the kind of like more tempestuous thing with Onus and Nyx, but this kind of sweeter thing between Ruby and Brody was kind of saying like, we want there to be sexiness in this show and romance, and that there is sometimes a thing where you don't get that so much with disabled neurodiverse characters. So we were like, we want that. I think that's one of the reasons why those stories are important. As well as it just being fun stories.
There might be something between.
I think we decided quite clearly that Robert and Ariel, actually that's like a really pure friendship.
I didn't think things like particularly male characters are just friends with female characters.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens enough.
That felt like an important thing.
The question I had was listening to all the characters, which I thought were really well drawn. Was it felt like almost I wanted to see more of Onus being the narcissist and having this kind of charisma and charm. Maybe Ruby, who is kind of a bit kind of won over by the charm, or as Nyx is going, I can see through you straight away. So you can have some fun with that kind of triangle, and then you have the friendship between Brody and Ruby building. So we're all going, no, not Onus. Go for Brody, go for Brody.
Just one last thing. I love that Ruby also is a fan of True Crime podcasts, and I wonder if her we could hear her listening to it, and she gets hints from the True Crime podcasts about how to carry out.
Where we were saying about her episodes of Black and White is because she's listening to a podcast show as she's going down the street, and like she hears like, and the couple was arguing, and she'll see a couple, and she'll imagine them like arguing about, and it's very over the top, noir, like, why do you love me so much?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.